you hate
What
that?
was 1776? What was that?
That was the founding of the country.
Which was it? What was the event? What would you call that?
When we overthrew royalty and created
against the government, would you call
a constitutional republic.
Would you call that an insurrection?
No.
No. 1776, the revolutionary. You wouldn't call that an insurrection?
So are you pro-insurrection now? You just babble and stammer so much, I can't figure out where you're at.
Alright, so in today's video, guys, we have progressive commentator Destiny, who is going to be in a debate with a far-right MAGA supporter, Owen Shroyer, who has a show on the far-right conspiracy theories, Alex Jones' InfoWar Network. And they're debating on something called the Uncensored America Show. And with Destiny being progressive and Owen Shroyer being a super MAGA supporter, as you can imagine, things got pretty heated and really entertaining. So I'm going to pop in from time to time and give my little side notes or whatever you want to call them. But with that being said, this first part of this debate, we are going to be looking at them talking about Democrat-run cities. Let's jump on in, y'all.
Are so expensive to live in. Democrat-run cities. And again, he talks about redistribution.
Is this the open?
You talk about redistribution again.
When those cities are expensive, do you acknowledge that those cities produce more economic output for the country than all the red cities? This is what I mean when I say these people don't live in reality. Like, why can't you acknowledge that? Because you'll...
Okay, he's absolutely got a point right there, because it might be a little bit more expensive, but at the end of the day, you're producing more. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit more expensive.
Very quickly say things like, oh, well, there are more homicides in Chicago. Yeah, there's more people that live in Chicago, and Chicago is what makes Illinois all its money. That's where the money comes from, or the blue cities. It's not just blue states that subsidize the existence of red states, which is true. And by the way, all of those governors were so happy for the American Rescue Plan when Biden was there to hand out money to shore up their budgets. But then when you want to talk about expenses and living and all these other things, now you want to talk about how blue cities need to be held responsible, but you don't give them credit for the economic output? It's insane.
It's a nice deflection. So Democrat cities are the most expensive to live in, so I'm glad you at least acknowledge that. And again,
more expensive to live in the U.S. than Uganda as well, right? It is, right?
So you can always volunteer to pay more, all right? If you want to redistribute wealth, you can be the hero, man. You can empty your bank account right now, but I bet you don't. I bet you're actually living pretty rich. I bet you do pretty well. And you want to bring up the Constitution. The Constitution actually states when the United States government becomes corrupt, it's our duty to reform the government. That's actually
what article
in the Constitution.
Clause is that? Is to terminate to suspend the rules of Constitution? Which Constitution are we talking about?
We live in a constitutional republic. We don't live in a democracy.
What is the contradiction there? What do you think? Hold on. What is a republic and what is a democracy?
A democracy is where a bunch of lunatics like you can vote away my rights. A democracy is where 3 wolves and a sheep vote what's for dinner.
Is that Article 5 or Article 6? I don't know what part of the Constitution.
So you asked what a democracy
was. So a democracy is when multiple people vote. A republic is when you have representatives that do things for you. We are a representative democracy. That's why we're a constitutional republic. We are both a republic, which just means you're not a monarchy, and a democracy. This idea that we must be a republic because I'm a Republican and we're not a democracy because you're a Democrat is fucking retarded. Come on.
Okay. So first things first, you can obviously see that he is, I mean, by the look on his face right here, he is like, okay, I might be in a little bit over my head. Especially when, you got to know the definition of a democracy and a republic. If you're going to bring those things up in a debate, you can't just, wing that part, especially when that is what the whole debate is about. You know what I mean?
So again, we live in a constitutional republic where we have unalienable rights given to us by God, the Creator. Democrats don't want you to know that because they want to be able to vote away your rights, like they want to be able to vote away your Second Amendment rights, vote away your First Amendment rights, and they'll go right down the line, okay? So that's why these people love democracy, because they want to be able to vote.
I feel like I've never seen First Amendment rights pop up on the ballot, and I know that the Second Amendment rights have been like extremely controversial over, the years. But I don't know if Owen Shroyer, was the right person for this debate for the Republican Party, because it seems like he's not fully aware of everything that he's speaking about. I don't know.
rights.
Abortion that we lost to a conservative Supreme Court? Are we talking about the Second Amendment when Donald Trump did the bump stock ban? I'm sorry, how were your gun rights attacked under Biden?
It was a bad ban.
And they came under Donald Trump, so why would he be the guy, no offense, but a liberal from New York, which is what Donald Trump is, that's the guy that you want defending your gun rights?
So you now have the President of the United States and the Vice President and the next would-be Vice President Tim Walz have all said they want an assault weapons ban, okay? What even is an assault weapon? Can you tell me?
A scary big black rifle that Democrats have been crying about for 30 years. They haven't banned it yet. I don't think they're going to ban it in this administration.
Very intellectual. By the way, what is a rich person's fair share?
What is a rich person's fair share? I think that the level of taxation should match appropriately the spending that we want from our federal government. Also, the reason what you asked me an assault rifle, there is no definition for an assault rifle. I acknowledge that. I don't want to ban assault rifles. Tim Walz and Kamala Harris both own firearms. Walz is a hunter. When was the last time you saw Trump with a firearm? I watched Roseanne, it was Roseanne, I think, with a firearm, right? Where she almost killed herself on a Twitter video with one? Jesus Christ.
So what, in the Bill of Rights, where is abortion mentioned?
Do you want to get into the constitutional legal construction of the penumbra of rights that are invoked when you try to get like the right to privacy out of the 14th of the night?
You claim there's a right to an abortion. It just doesn't exist.
I didn't claim there was a right to an abortion. Technically, the abortion right comes from a right to privacy, but we'd have to go over Casey and Roe, and I'm sure that you're not familiar with any of those Supreme Court cases, or probably any Supreme Court case. But the reality is that before you had a protected right to seek an abortion. Now you don't. Republicans took that from you. Before you had the right to own a bump stock, Donald Trump banned bump stocks through executive action, by the way.
Which lost at the Supreme Court.
Which what?
Lost at the Supreme Court.
Well, that hasn't stopped him in the past from going back over and over again to try to get cases tossed or to try to get favorable rulings.
Hey man, I don't live in a cult. I said I have disagreements with Donald Trump. So you can attack me on Trump's policies that I disagree with. That's not a win for you.
Okay, so I really like what Owen Shroyer actually said right there. Like, I'm not in a cult, and I have disagreements with Donald Trump. It's not like I am blindly following everything that he said. Now, that is the first thing I feel like in this debate that he's actually been really strong and clear on and has a lot of conviction behind, because I'm not just following any candidate. I don't care who you are. Okay, just blindly. I'm not, no. And that is his saving grace, I feel, right here, is he might be debating on things he has no idea about, is what it kind of seems, but at least he's not just saying, I'm blindly following Trump.
I agree I can't win attacking you on Trump's policies because he has none. Okay. I mean, what am I mean, yeah, what can you give me what is one Trump policy that he's running on besides 20% tariffs?
Secure border.
That's not a policy. That's like
taxes.
an idea. That's the concept of an idea of a policy.
Stopping war.
Okay.
What are Harris' policies that are so great?
Well, the three that she listed immediately is she wanted to give a $50,000 rollover deduction to new startups for small businesses. So
that was Trump's idea?
What?
Trump did that. When he was president.
Maybe he should have spoke it. I don't know if he's too senile now or he's lost the ability to do it. What?
You just weren't watching.
I was watching. Unfortunately, I watched too much Trump. That was one. A second thing she wanted to do was expand the child tax credit, which was incredibly successable under Biden.
Also a Trump policy.
It wasn't. That's why it happened under Biden. And it's why the Republicans initially fought against it.
Expand.
Are we going to say that pre-existing conditions in the ACA was a Trump policy now as well? I know that he wants to take care of that one. And then the third thing that Kamala Harris said is she wanted to do a $15,000 first-time home buyer credit to people that were buying homes for the first time. Donald Trump said he wanted
for illegal immigrants.
How does I'm so curious. How do you think these tax credits work?
You do realize that they give money to illegal immigrants to buy houses?
I don't think you know how any of this works because I think you were probably born a rich kid and you never bought a house on an FHA loan before. So I had a tax credit when I bought a house. The way that these work is you apply for these refundable tax credits when you get them at the end of the year when you've qualified for them. An illegal immigrant definitionally doesn't file taxes because they don't have social security numbers. They don't get money back from the government. So how would an illegal immigrant qualify for a tax credit?
Okay, another really good point. You have to be filing taxes, and to file taxes means that you're not illegal. So to be able to get that tax credit, you obviously can't be illegal. That just makes sense to me. I don't know. Am I crazy?
Again, this doesn't make any sense. It's like the hurricane
I agree.
machines.
It doesn't make any sense. This is the Democrat policy. I completely agree. It doesn't make any sense at all. So
Where are these lazy people that are coming over and not working and not getting jobs, getting the money for homes?
The U.S. government.
They pay them for the homes too? Then why even give them the tax credit? Why not just give them the homes outright?
Yes, they might do that next. They might actually do that next.
Where are they getting all these?
Actually, they do.
Yeah.
Actually, they do. Who pays for the hotels that they're staying at in New York City, in Chicago? Well, who's paying for those hotels? Who's paying for that room and board?
I imagine there's probably federal money allocated to
And
people
where does
that are
the
part of
federal government get its money?
From the, I mean, technically
U.S.
from the U.S.
taxpayers.
Treasury? Sure, yeah.
U.S. taxpayer. So you are paying for illegal immigrants' housing. Thank you very much.
Illegal immigrants staying in apartments and hotels temporarily is not them buying homes with a tax credit. This is like saying we can do cloud seeding, therefore we've created hurricanes for attacking the United States. You see that it's a mutton belly. It's not the same at all.
Let's just move on.
Yeah, of course. I've been telling Republicans that since the 2020 election, and they still haven't.
Now, right there, Owen Shroyer might have a little bit of foundation, a little bit of base, because I mean, it does come from the federal government does get paid from our tax dollars, which is, I guess, going to, the hotels and all that kind of stuff. So with that, it's I kind of understand what he's saying, but then at the same point, they're not getting the FHA loan. It's not like they're getting tax credits to go out and purchase a house, which is a completely different thing. Just putting somebody up in a hotel versus helping somebody buy a house, okay?
That you want to bring up during the open dialogue, Stephen?
Yeah, do we acknowledge that Trump probably lost 2020? Have we gotten over that yet, or?
No, I don't want to relitigate that, but I would be happy to show you the results on the graphs where at 3:30 in the morning in 4 states, Biden's votes go straight up. Is that normal?
No, it's not normal.
We're about to jump into some nitty gritty stuff here because Destiny is already shredding Owen Shroyer right now. In regards to, and I am neither far right, far left, either way, but in terms of this debate, Destiny is tearing Owen Shroyer up piece by piece right now. And before we even get into the next part of this, I believe Owen Shroyer was a part of the insurrection, and I think he was sentenced to a little bit of time in jail over that whole insurrection incident. So before we get into that, let me just, add that little piece.
What do you think that is?
I think that just like every single person before the election said, there was an unprecedented amount of mail-in voting.
And they were all for Biden.
A lot of them were. Did you not listen?
Yeah, of course they were.
Of course they were.
And they all came right at 3:30 in the morning.
Because Donald Trump spent a year in the lead up telling his people, don't vote via mail-in ballot.
You are so
Do you remember
gullible,
that
man.
happening? Did you watch Donald Trump for a year
You are
say,
so
we don't
gullible.
vote via mail-in ballot, we go to the polls and vote? And you know why he did that? We know why he did that. Because Roger Stone and Manafort, two corrupt lunatics that Donald Trump has both given full pardons to, by the way, are on recorded audio saying Donald Trump is just going to declare himself the victor on the night of the election because he knows he's going to get destroyed when the mail-in ballots start coming.
And did Donald Trump declare himself the victor, or did he leave the White House?
He definitely declared himself the victor, and I feel like he still is holding on to the fact that he should be president right now. I don't think he's even actually conceded still to this day, 4 years later, and we're going into another election. So, yeah.
Do what?
Did Donald Trump leave the White House?
After a failed insurrection, yes.
A failed insurrection. Who ran the insurrection?
Donald Trump and the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and everybody that broke into the Capitol and delayed the certification of the vote.
Do you really believe that?
Was the vote certification delayed?
What is an insurrection?
Wait. Was
Hold
the
on,
vote
hold on.
no,
What is an
wait.
insurrection?
Was the vote certification delayed on January 6th?
No, it went through. They certified. Did Trump?
Hold on. I'm so sorry. I don't know who you're answering right now. Was the vote certification delayed? Was Congress called out of session on January 6th?
Yes, I think for a couple hours.
For several hours.
So by the end of the day,
why were they called out of session?
So by the end of the day,
you see how we can't live in reality? You see how this doesn't work? The country doesn't function when you have people
if you want
that
to go
refuse
back
to
and call
accept.
this an insurrection,
The craziest thing is it's all on video. We've seen all of this.
So
None of this is a mystery.
Tell me
right?
what an insurrection is. Just define it for me.
I don't have to define it for you. I'm just asking simple questions. On January 6th, there was a certification of the vote. That vote was disrupted by violence. If you want to get into what an insurrection is, you could say that it was a crowd of people that had gathered with a common purpose to use the means of violence or intimidation to disrupt an official federal proceeding, such as the certification of the 2020 vote, the outcome of that election.
That's a very good definition. And honestly, Owen, Destiny clearly has his facts. He has his notes, and Destiny knows how and when to pull them out, because when Owen Shroyer was asked almost kind of like a similar question, you know, what is a democracy, he wasn't able to give a clear, factual answer. And I feel like those are the things that will help you win a debate, especially, you know, right now.
It would probably qualify as an insurrection.
Okay. How many guns were at this insurrection?
You don't need a gun for an insurrection.
Zero.
Zero? Wait, the cops didn't have any guns?
Oh, the cops had a gun. That's right. They killed an innocent
so that
person.
was what you just said, which is wrong.
That's right. They killed
What did
an
Ashley
innocent
Babbitt get shot
person.
with a slingshot? What do you mean there were zero guns at the insurrection?
So, okay,
You
so
don't
the
think any of
government
people on
had
the
the
Capitol-
guns. So
you don't
that's
think-
good. So that's what happens when only the
hold on.
government has the guns.
Just to be clear here, none of the people on the grounds of the Capitol had any firearms on them? Not a single one. Really? Not even though the Secret Service said 80% of the people that were at the Ellipse just an hour earlier listening to Trump's speech didn't go through the magnometers because they saw people in the crowd that had firearms they didn't want to go through that all marched to the Capitol building. What, did they drop their gun off at a hotel? Did they give it to a friendly police officer?
Not
did
a
they find a
single
fellow
gun.
DC BLM guy to hold on to their rifles?
Not a single gun was ever recovered or on record at the January 6th insurrection.
Oh, recovered.
And
well,
what type of an insurrection?
How many pipe bombs were found
what type of
at
That's
the
a
January
great
6th
question,
event?
actually. Who laid those pipe bombs?
We don't know. We never found out.
We don't know. How convenient. The government can recognize somebody's earlobe in a video and track them down and go arrest them in the middle of a hurricane, by the way. The FBI went into North Carolina in the middle of a hurricane and arrested somebody, but they can't find who laid the pipe bombs. They have no idea. And Kamala Harris doesn't remember where she was that day either, even though one of the bombs was allegedly right outside of her office. She has no idea. She's changing her story. But what type of an insurrection?
No one is changing the story. You guys filmed this
Kamala
from start
has
to
changed
finish.
the story.
We can
Kamala
watch you
has changed the
guys
story.
cheering for it. We can watch you cheering 1776. What was 17?
Uh-oh, see, I knew it was going to get a little bit, you know, a little bit messy right there. He said, we can even see you shouting 1776, 1776. So, I think that one actually went over his head. That one definitely went over his head.
I know you hate 1776.
Wait, I'm
I know
curious.
you hate
What
that.
was 1776? What was that?
That was the founding of the country.
Which was it? What was the event? What would you call that?
When we overthrew royalty and created
against the government, would you call
a
it
constitutional republic.
Would you call that an insurrection?
No.
No. 1776, the revolutionary. You wouldn't call that an insurrection?
So are you pro-insurrection now? You just babble and stammer so much. I can't figure out where you're at. Tell me what kind of an insurrection, when an emergency notice goes out to go home, everybody goes home and calls it a day. Is that
what kind of an insurrection ends when the leader tells his followers to go?
I mean, it was absolute chaos. Looking back on that day and like remembering the videos and all that kind of stuff that were coming out at that time. I mean, it was absolute chaos. So yeah, when somebody tells you to pack up and go home, and you do, I mean, that clearly shows you that somebody was leading this. It wasn't just a random occurrence.
All of them.
Perfect.
That's how it works. That's how a cult works.
So there was no insurrection. Trump didn't want to overthrow the government. Thank you for admitting that. That wasn't too hard to get out of you.
We can't even follow basic logic.
No, you just proved
1776
my
was an
point.
insurrection. It was a
now
revolution.
you're deflecting again to 1776.
I'm not deflecting.
So
I'm referring
Trump wanted to
specifically.
insurrect
it's just
the
funny
government,
that you stand
but he
outside
told his
saying
followers to go home.
1776 and go, well, is this really an insurrection? Well, I don't know. What were we cheering for? The Star Spangled Banner? Was it choir practice?
Actually, they were singing the Star Spangled Banner, something
sure.
you'll
They were
never
also
hear at a
chanting,
Democrat
"Hang
event.
Mike Pence." When Donald Trump said Mike Pence needs to do the right thing, what was he talking about there? What do you want Pence to do?
So in the history of the United States, there have been multiple times where a party rejects the results of an election, and all three times prior to 2020, it was the Democrat Party.
Really? You want to walk? Let's walk through those. Let's walk through those. Do you want to go through? Do you want to go over when it happened in 1960 in Hawaii, when the only reason why they submitted two different slates of electors, which were both authorized by the state legislatures, because there needed to be a recount. You want to use that one, or do you want to go back to Ulysses S. Grant, the one that happened prior to the ECA even being passed? Right? Where the whole reason why that law was passed was because it was such a clusterfuck of an election. Which one do you want to go to? Do you want to go to Gore, where Gore he gave up that election as soon as he lost to the Supreme Court, where there wasn't even a delay in the electors voting in Florida, let alone a January 6th certification? The problem is you don't know anything. You have no facts for any of this. And the strongest facts that you can attest to, you no longer can because you're scared of being sued again for defamation. So Obviously, you're just going to sit here and ramble on some crazy shit. That's why you won't admit that 1776 was obviously an insurrection. That's why you were cheering it on outside when you thought you were going to be the winners of that insurrection instead of the losers. And it's why you won't admit now to obvious facts that are right in front of our face.
So honestly, Owen Shroyer definitely should have came with more facts. If you want to check out the entire debate, the whole thing is about 2 hours long. This is just like a group of clips that I feel were really, spicy and definitely worth watching. But you can go to the Modern Day Debate YouTube channel and you can check out this whole debate. It's about 2 hours long, and I believe that they did this for Uncensored America. Well, obviously they did it for Uncensored America. If you want to check that out, feel free to hop on over there. But Destiny definitely was, you know, kicking butt and taking names in this one. So let me know in the comments who you guys think won this debate. To me, it's definitely kind of clear, but let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys. And honestly, again, Destiny was coming with facts. Destiny had all of the information, and Owen Shroyer definitely had some good points. I'm not going to negate that he had some good points, but again, I feel like he didn't have the basis of a good foundation, or he wasn't as factually prepared as I feel like you have to be if you're going to be going into a debate, especially with Destiny. This is my first time really even finding out really who either of these guys are. So for me, it is what it is. So let me know in the comments what you thought. And if you like videos like this, go on ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help my channel. And honestly, I love doing a deep dive into content like this. So I'm going to be posting and uploading more and more content just like this. So if you like that, go on ahead and subscribe, join the channel family. We are over 5,000 strong and growing. And I am super excited to share this with you guys. So with that being said, I will see you in the next one. Peace.